compete in a year, some 6 months. Some have had some opportunities to compete over the summer, at least within their respective training clubs. A few opting to race over previous weekends in Fayetteville in an indoor opportunity. This, though, an outdoor opportunity, so a bit unique for early February with no NCAA or no USA indoor championship event. That's Danny Jones representing New Balance and Team Boss. She's one of those who did race recently, raced last weekend in Fayetteville, raced a mile there. Plenty of Bowerman athletes across all of the different races, as you can see those getting warmed up out on the track. That is Sinclair Johnson. She's making her Bowerman Track Club debut after competing collegiately for Oklahoma State, where she was an NCAA outdoor 1,500 meter champion. Talking to those organizing the race from Bowerman Track Club, they were really utilizing this as an opportunity, looking for an opportunity to kind of dust some of the rust off after that long training cycle, with many of these athletes having not competed since last February. So this a bit of a tune-up in a number of aspects. Taking a look right now at Corey McGee, racing for New Balance and Team Boss, enters the field with the fastest personal best of all of the athletes, having clocked a 2 flat last year. She had a fantastic 2020 racing season. She clocked personal best both in the 800 and in the 1,500. Personal best in the 1,500 of 4:03. Now clearing the track of all those other athletes who were out there warming up for the later events. Here is your field of athletes competing in the Prickly Pear Invitational Women's 800 meters. Lane hip 1 will be Danny Jones. Hip 2 is Ellie Purrier representing New Balance Boston. Sinclair Johnson with hip 3 in position 4, Corey McGee. Position 5 is Alexa Ephraimson. Position 6, Shifra Clary Butner. And then her teammate from New Balance Boston just to her outside. Rounding out the field with hip 7 is Heather McLean. This the first of 4 events to be raced near the Phoenix area this evening. Expecting this to be a very competitive, very quick race with the talent assembled for this 800-meter race. Headlining the field, certainly Ellie Purrier, the U.S. indoor mile record holder. She ran 4:16.85 last year at Millrose. Athletes staying in their lane until they get over there to the stretch. Making that break now as they get to the back stretch. Ephraimson up to the front, representing Nike. She has that hip 5 in her inside, to her inside. There on her shoulder is Ellie Purrier. Ephraimson getting out quickly, staying out of any trouble up front. Alexa Ephraimson, followed by Elle Purrier. Corey McGee also close in stride. Purrier moving to the shoulder there. As the bell lap, they come through in about 62 seconds. Purrier Purrier's official personal best, 2:03.55, but she reportedly clocked a 2 flat in a very low-key meet in Connecticut last summer. She takes off there, separates herself from the field. Sinclair Johnson gonna go with her. Johnson quickly gaining ground, coming up on the outside shoulder. Ellie Purrier still leading, Sinclair Johnson on her shoulder. Johnson threatening as they come around the turn. Very tight with the top 5 women in this field as they come to the home stretch, the final 100 meters. It's Ellie Purrier, Sinclair Johnson, and Heather McLean. Sinclair Johnson separating herself in her Bowerman Track Club debut, and she will get the victory unofficially, 2:01. We will wait to see the official clock time there. A phenomenal late move from Sinclair Johnson, the NCAA 1500 meter champion back in 2019 from Oklahoma State. We will have those official results for you momentarily for all 7 athletes competing in this women's 800 meter. Taking a look at where Sinclair Johnson made a definitive move, you could say she waited right there, boomerangs, kind of slingshots herself off of that final turn to put herself in great position. Super smooth, very relaxed, very controlled. Takes the victory, and the time for Sinclair Johnson, 2:01.7, just behind her Ellie Purrier. A great opportunity for many of these athletes to get a gauge on their training and racing purely off of strength with minimal opportunities to race over the past 12 months. Sinclair Johnson with the victory, now official in 2:01.70, followed closely by Ellie Purrier from New Balance Boston, 2:02. Her teammate Heather McLean takes third for your top 3. Then Corey McGee, Danny Jones, Clary Butner, and Alexa Ephraimson rounds out those athletes for the debut event of the women of the Prickly Pear Invitational, the women's 800 meter run. Next up, the men assembling on the track. Seven men slated to compete. Many of these athletes, 1,500 or 3K, 5K athletes who are dropping down in distance and getting a gauge of their strength and speed. While some of them had opportunities to compete within their respective teams, this a great opportunity to measure up against some competition from across the track and field world. Here is a list at those entrants. You have Ollie Hoare from On Running in lane 2. Lane 3, Josh Thompson, representing Nike Bowerman Track Club. 4, Drew Piazza from New Balance. 5th, in the 5th lane, Amos Bartlesmeyer. 6 is Ian Nohilly, and in the 7th position is Bryce Richards. Josh Thompson on the inside, playing it conservative as he makes the break over there to the inside of the track. Out aggressively there is Bryce Richards. You can see he has that 7 on his chest, followed closely by Drew Piazza. Some late scratches, no Ollie Hoare and no Ian Nohilly. So down to just the 4 athletes you see here. Josh Thompson won his first national title indoors in 2020 in the 1,500 meters, won that in Albuquerque. A phenomenal 1,500 meter athlete. Josh Thompson ran a 3:34.77 in in Boston in February of 2020. Has a phenomenal kick, which he is flexing right now with just under 300 meters to go, moving to the outside into lane 2, pushing onto the shoulder of Bryce Richards. He and his teammate, Amos Bartelsmeyer, there in the back, looking to make a move now as they round the turn, make a break there for the final straightaway. There you can see Thompson increasing that turnover. His teammate coming along with him, bringing him right along just like they train. Josh Thompson, followed by Amos Bartelsmeyer, talking with their coaching staff from the Bowerman Track Club, said that these guys have really improved their strength over the last 11 months. Of course, that racing stride, that racing strength, and that Josh Thompson was in 2020. They had no concerns about that carrying over into 2021. They said they just shifted their training, focused more so on building strength over the past 10 months or so. There you can see Josh Thompson moving all the way out into lane 3 to get around the traffic, bringing his teammate Amos Bartelsmeyer along with him, quickening the pace, driving all the way through that finish. Great ability there to switch gears when necessary, driving into that 1,500 meter strength and that racing prowess. Waiting now for those official results on the times. There you have Josh Thompson from Nike Bowerman Track Club, 149, followed closely behind by his teammate Bartelsmeyer, 149.24 compared to Thompson's 149.15. Then Drew Piazza of New Balance, 149.85. Bryce Richards rounds out the field, 151.49. That is a PR, personal best for Josh Thompson. Previous coming through, his 800 was set back. His previous best in the 800 was set back in 2016, 149.97. So a significant improvement for him as he gets the victory in the men's 800 meter run for the Prickly Pear Invitational. Up next, we will have the women's 3,000 meters. We will resume our action in the Prickly Pear Invitational near Phoenix shortly after we have a quick commercial break. When we get back, the women's 3,000 meter will be on the track.
Steps into the ring for his final attempt. He'll need a big throw to regain the lead. It's looking good. Feeling athletic? Get the Athletic app.
Sorry, it all happened so fast.
He needs to improve 3 centimeters to get back in front. And here's the approach. He's got great speed. Takeoff looks good. Feeling athletic? Get the Athletic app.
How dare you?
Sorry. Here's the final handoff. They were a little shaky in the prelims, but they get away clean here. Feeling athletic? Get the Athletic app.
Welcome back to our coverage of the Prickly Pear Invitational. Up next on the track, we will have the women's 3,000 meter in about 4 minutes. A field of approximately a dozen athletes set to compete. It's a beautiful evening in the Phoenix area. Temperature in the low 70s, a light wind between 5 and 6 miles per hour. Taking a look now at Fiona O'Keefe. In talking with those organizing this race from the Bowerman Track Club, they were very impressed with how quickly this meet came together, especially with how competitive these fields are for both the 800 and 3,000 meter distances. With several races coming up, several high-profile races on the agenda for many of these athletes, this serves as a tune-up opportunity. Getting back into a racing field, racing opportunity. A list of those we are expected to see this evening. Colleen Quigley, Elise Cranny, Taylor Werner, Gwen Jorgensen, Emily Infeld, Gabriella Stafford Debuse, Abby Cooper, Sharon Lokedi, Marielle Hall, Carissa Schweitzer, Katrina Coogan, and Millie Palladino. This race set to take off in about 2 minutes. The ladies will have the advantage of having a rabbit. Katrina Coogan is slated to have those duties, serve as the rabbit, as the pacer. There's a look at the entire field, all of the entrants. Wearing hip 6, that's Emily Enfeld from Bowerman Track Club. Battled some injuries over the last 2 seasons and excited to be back in a field of competition among several of her teammates, as well as some athletes from across some other training groups. Emily's last race was indoors in the 5,000 about 12 months ago, in which she ran 4:51.91 indoors. You can see there's her teammate Gwen Jorgensen as well. Also, Marielle Hall and Elise Cranny, all there in the red, white, and black jerseys of the Bowerman Track Club. They're expected to take this out between 69 and 70 seconds per lap. The goal being to have these athletes somewhere in the 8:33 to 8:45 range. Athletes getting final directions from the officials there near the Phoenix area. No spectators allowed, so all those you are seeing are either teammates or coaches of the athletes. All of the athletes, of course, requiring a negative COVID test before competition. And then anyone else there at the track required to be wearing masks at all time. Again, a quick rundown of the field. Fiona O'Keefe with hip 1, Colleen Quigley with hip 2, hip 3 is Elise Cranny, hip 4, Taylor Werner, hip 5, Gwen Jorgensen, hip 6, Emily Enfeld, hip 7, Gabriella Stafford Debuse, hip 8, Abby Cooper, 10, Sharon Lokedi, 11, Marielle Hall, 12, Carissa Schweitzer, Millie Palladino as well, and Katrina Coogan is scheduled to be doing the pacing duties for this event. Quickly, Gabriella Stafford Debuse and Carissa Schweitzer up front in pursuit of Coogan, staying tightly packed there. Colleen Quigley sitting there in the 4th position, making her debut unattached, racing for the first time, not being a part of the Bowerman Track Club, and she's using the opportunity to support a local organization in the Phoenix area, a nonprofit called Achieving My Purpose, which provides programming, resources, and experiences to empower young women of color. She had a great indoor season in 2020. Top 3 finishes in the 15 and 3K, the USA Indoor Championships. Carissa Schweitzer, of course, as well, recording top 3 finishes in those races. Carissa Schweitzer, interestingly, her personal best in the 3,000, outdoors, 8:42.15. She set that back in 2019. Her indoor PR, her indoor national record for the 3K, 8:25.70, certainly far superior to that. So she's certainly in pursuit, attainable for a PR for the outdoor event. One of the advantages of having minimal fans, or rather no fans, and just teammates and coaches, is that those athletes can readily hear and easily hear those coaching cues and instructions and directions. As you can see, those coaches positioned around the outside of the track, some of them on the infield as well. Coming through now, Coogan continues the pacing duties. She was scheduled to take them through each lap 69-70. Just behind her is Gabriella Stafford Debuse, who set 1,500 mile and 5K outdoor national records back in 2019. Her 1,500 national record of 3:56.12, mile at 4:17.87. Her 5K outdoor national record, 14:44.12. Gwen Jorgensen making a move up there to join her teammates at the front of the pack. Elise Cranny moving up there as well, just behind Carissa Schweitzer and Colleen Quigley. Elise Cranny last raced back in December, racing a 5,000 meter at the track meet in LA, in which she boasted a personal best of 15:04.88. Back in June, ran a 14:48.02 at a Bowerman Track Club intra-squad meet. The pace through the first 1,000, the first K, right on 8:45 pace, which is exactly as they were expecting to run. Coogan is expected to take them through the mile. She feels good. She could take them through about 2,000 meters. So you can see Stafford Debuse, Carissa Schweitzer, Colleen Quigley, Elise Cranny, all taking advantage of having the pacer up front, doing the legwork, doing the heavy lifting to set the tone. I was told once she steps on the track, it's left completely up to those athletes at the front and how they feel to push the pace, if they want to take it out more quickly. Same top 4 as you have Stafford Debuse, followed by Schweitzer, Quigley, Elise Cranny, then Marielle Hall. Also Emily Enfeld and Gwen Jorgensen. They came through the halfway point in 4:23.5, right around 8:47 pace. Will be interesting to see how this pace may quicken with this speed, the leg speed that those like Carissa Schweitzer does have. She's a very gutsy racer, tends to take control when the opportunity is given. And that she does. Looks like she's making a move there on the outside of lane 1. Elise Cranny going to go with her, challenging the rest of the field to try to go with them. High 70s, high 71 for their last lap, so slowing just a bit since Coogan stepped off the track. The top 4 separating themselves just a bit.
There you go, Em. There you go.
6:27 on that last split there. Schweitzer, not only the U.S. indoor record holder at this distance, that 8:25.70 indoors she ran in Boston last February. She also clocked a 14:26.34 in the 5,000 back in 2020. And then a 4-minute 1,500 meter as well. So one of those strong traits of Carissa Schweitzer is that phenomenal range that she has. Often competing against her training partner, Shelby Houlihan. Turnover looking to quicken just a bit here. Schweitzer, then Elise Cranny, Gabriella Stafford-Debus, and Colleen Quigley, the steeplechase specialist, still up there in 4th position, racing unattached in this event. Last lap just under 70 seconds as Carissa Schweitzer picks things up. The times to watch for Schweitzer, her outdoor personal best, 8:42.15. Elise Cranny now making a big move on the back stretch. Gabriella Stafford-Debus looking to go with her. Talking to the Bowerman Track Club, they said that Stafford-Debus had flexed immense strength in their training sessions, training alongside those teammates. Penultimate lap, 68.9 seconds, things quickening significantly. Stafford-Debus stretching out a lead, commanding lead now as she goes through unofficial 8:38, followed closely by her teammate, Carissa Schweitzer, Colleen Quigley, Elise Cranny as well. We will get all of those finishing results officially for you as we get the entire field through the finish.
We have 2 more. Or actually, no, we have 1 more.
And talking with the coaches from Bowerman Track Club, they had given Gabriella Stafford-Debus the option of whether she really wanted to run the 800 or the 3,000 meter in this event. And she said she really wanted to run the 3K, considers herself a true 1,500 meter runner, but wanted the opportunity to test her endurance, test her strength, and did so in incredible fashion, clocking 8:38.51, the number 3 all-time for a Canadian outdoors at the 3,000 meter distance. So a top 3 all-time effort. And then look at the finish just behind her, a battle between Quigley, Cranny, and Schweitzer. A 61.49 last lap. The final 400 meters, 61.49 seconds for Gabriella Stafford-Debus. Now we have those official times for you. Colleen Quigley taking 2nd, followed by Carissa Schweitzer. There we have our time. So Quigley coming in 2nd, 8:40. Schweitzer from the Nike Bowerman Track Club, a very look how close between second and third, just 0.02 of a second. That should be an outdoor. It is an outdoor personal best in the 3,000 meters for Carissa Schweitzer. Up next is perhaps the most competitive, the deepest field of competition that we will have on the track this evening, the men's 3,000 meter race. Altogether, 16 men slated for competition. Of course, some late scratches that we will adapt for, but coming into the weekend at least, expected to be 16 altogether, with the advantage of a pacer or rabbit doing some of the work for these athletes. In talking with the coaches this weekend for this event in the 3,000 meter for these men, they really just wanted to, their objective was to run a really good competitive race, get a quality meet, get a quality event out there, race to win and be competitive, not necessarily worried about the clock, but more so worried about gauging how you stack up against where everyone else is after 11 months of very few organized racing opportunities. Of those headlining the field, Evan Jager, the steeplechase specialist and Olympian. Here you have a list of your entrants for the men's 3,000 meter run. Johnny Gregorek from ASICS, Morgan McDonald representing Under Armour, Woody Kincaid, Kieran Tuntve, Mark Scott, Joe Klecker, Evan Jager, his teammate Grant Fisher, another teammate from the Bowerman Track Club, Sean McGorty, Brian Barraza from Adidas Tinman Elite, Chris Derrick, Johnny Renowicki, Via Simbasa, Joey Barriatua, Max Thorwith, scheduled to be the pace setter for this event. Evan Jager there wearing the number 7 on his chest. Most recently raced against his teammates from the Bowerman Track Club in the summer. In June and July, a few opportunities for them to put together some very competitive races. A 3:37 in the 1500 for Jager in one of those meets. The pacer, Max Thorwith, is expected to take things out in 61-second 400s, setting up a 4:37.50 pace. That would be a PR for many of the men in this field. Again, this is the deepest, most competitive field that we have of the 4 events. This is the finale of the Prickly Pear Invitational. Mark Thorwith, who's on the outside there with the hip 16, scheduled to be the pacer, aiming for 61-second 400 meters to put them on pace for a 4:37.50 3,000 meter. Thorwith making the break to the inside of the track. Very tightly packed behind him. A little bit of jostling for position. Just behind the pacer Max Thorwith from Germany is Joey Barriatua from the 10-man elite club. As they get to the back stretch and the field stretching themselves out just a bit, the top three, followed by a thick pack in pursuit. Thorwith was the 2020 indoor national champion at 3,000 meters in his home country of Germany. Just behind him, Barriatua. And then Mark Scott from the Bowerman Track Club.
Get up there, Johnny. Go, Morgan.
Mark Scott, one of those who comes in with a number of recent races. His last two, a 7:43.48 in the 3,000, just 11/10 of a second off of his personal best. Also in September, ran a 13:32 5,000 meters to win the UK Championships. Thorwith glancing over that left shoulder to check how he is in position and on pace. Again, the athletes still very close. Everyone very clustered there behind the top five men.
Go, Morgan.
The 1,000-meter split 2:35.32, so they are on 7:45 pace, so even just a little bit quicker than what they anticipated. Grant Fisher working his way up in competition toward the lead pack. Fisher coming off personal bests both indoors and outdoors in the 3,000 meters. Indoors getting just below 740, a 7:39.99 indoors for 3,000. His outdoor personal best, 7:46.10. Thorwith expected to take them through the mile, perhaps the 2,000. Behind him is Joey Barriatua. Also Mark Scott and Grant Fisher, the two Bowerman Track Club teammates. Making a move now, that's Sean McGorty on the outside in the right there on the line in between lanes 1 and 2. McGorty racing a 1,500, a 3K, a 5K, all in late June and July in a number of those inter-competition meets that they had with the Bowerman Track Club. Through halfway, they're at 3:55, so slowed a bit, 7:50 pace now. We'll certainly be expecting to see this pace quicken over the next 1,000 meters. Thorwith expected to step off here as they get to the back stretch. And we will see how these athletes separate from there. Just behind him right now is Sean McGorty. McGorty ran 7:46.48 over the summer, followed closely by Mark Scott and Grant Fisher. So the top three, all of the Bowerman Track Club. Joe Klecker in position 4, it appears. That chase pack separating. Now more in single file. Things are stringing out now. The top 4 separating. Sub 61 for the last lap as Sean McGorty took over those lead duties. Evan Jaeger looking to make a move and get in position in that top 4. Jaeger certainly very used to the 3,000 meter distance, just typically a water jump and some barriers as the Olympian in the 3,000 meter steeplechase. Now to the bell lap. Bowerman Track Club commanding the top 3. Followed by Joe Klecker of the On Athletic Club. Grant Fisher in pursuit of his teammate. Mark Scott stretching things out, taking a lead. 59.8 for that bell lap, that second to last lap. 1, 2, 3, Bowerman Track Club. That's Mark Scott up front, followed by Grant Fisher, then Sean McGorty. So a top 3 finish for the Bowerman Track Club. We will wait for those official results shortly. Great show of sportsmanship as the athletes handshaking, high five, hugging one another. Looking at the top 10 all time for the men's 3,000 meter outdoors, Scott will be number 4 all time thanks to a phenomenal closing 2 laps. The final 2 laps is where he really took command of this race. That final straightaway, showing off that burst of speed, that finding that extra gear, that closing kick, takes him 7:36.09 for 3,000 meters. That puts him number 4 all time on the UK list. A personal best for Grant Fisher, runner up. There we have our finishing times. Taking a look at those. Grant Fisher, 4:37.21, so a personal best for him. Again, that effort from Mark Scott puts him in the top 5 all time for the UK men in the outdoor 3,000 meters. So it was expected to be among the most competitive and elite field, the deepest field that we had of our 4th events, and certainly proved to be exactly that. Sean McGorty as well, recording a personal best in that 3rd place finish. Getting some well-deserved high fives from the rest of the Bowerman Track Club following that victory. A 153 last 800, a phenomenal closing kick after their pacer stepped off the track and the duties were taken over by a collective effort of Bowerman Track Club athletes of Mark Scott, Grant Fisher, Sean McGordy. They anticipated going out and finishing this one with those 61-second 400s. The aim was to be right around 4:37.5. And they were just under that for those top finishers. Now some athletes getting some cool down time on the infield as we wrap up this Prickly Pear Invitational, the inaugural event. Thank you for joining us for our coverage of the Prickly Pear Invitational, a phenomenal evening of competition on the track, headlined by some incredible performances across the board. The women's 800 winner, Sinclair Johnson, in her pro track debut. The men's 800, Josh Thompson getting the victory. The women's 3,000, a phenomenal effort from Gabriella Stafford-Debuse. And closing it out, a phenomenal finish with a 1-2-3 sweep for the Bowerman Track Club in the men's 3,000. Thank you so much for joining us for our coverage here on USATF.tv. For the rest of our crew, I am Lara Overton. Have a fantastic evening. We hope you enjoyed our coverage today.